Hey, Robin. I think you are the first to arrive. That is a glorious thing. Good morning, John. Great to see you. Amy, hello, hello. I hope you guys are weathering the heat all right. And particularly Joe. I was thinking of her this morning. This has got to be rough on her. Hey, Jamie Battles. Hello, hello. Hi, Donna. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you here this morning. Glad you're well. Good morning, Vicky. How are you? So good, so good. So glad you're here. I tried. I hope everybody is doing well on this hot day. It is a hot time in this. It is a hot town in the summertime. That is for sure. And I hope you are getting to at least to stay cool, or at least getting to enjoy the heat of the days and the fullness of them. These long days and this all of this warmth. There's such beauty in it. There really is, and we have that opportunity to take it. So glad Joe's having a time. We're camped out in the AC. You are not alone. I bet that is true. Good morning, Diana Dare. How are you? Great to see you here. So nice. So good. Good morning, Rosalia. Hope you're well. Hope things are well there. Good morning, everyone. So good to see you. Morning, Bob Guinan. How are you? It is a glad you're here. Morning, Linda. Great to see you here. Put the AC on so we can breathe. We are all in that. That's for sure. And goodness, excuse me, everyone. Our weather often comes over here. I hope you're right, Robin. I hope we do end up getting a little bit of your cool coming this way. Yes, awesome to be out. That has been. I like the fall better. Fall is my favorite too, but there's that each season has its beauty. Thank you. I'll take all the blessings I can get. Goodness, I think it's the AC. Make me snuffly. Welcome everybody. It is the 28th day of July at 11:11, and I am so glad that you are with us and you are here, a part of this journey. We were just talking about this season and this time, and we do like the I'm a fall guy myself. There's something fantastic about that season, and yet this season, as warm and as hot, as beautiful. Good morning, Irene. Glad that you're here. That there's something great about that too, like that just to feel the warmth penetrating our bones, and even though the air is heavy, and even though we're might struggle with some breaths or whatever it is, there's something just life giving in it, and I think which if we look at all the seasons of life, this is true, and that gets to what we want to talk about this morning, which is this text from Ecclesiastes. You see this text from Ecclesiastes, that this very famous text of for everything there for a time there is for everything there is a season. That it often gets stopped at all of the a time twos, but I think the nugget of it is really after this piece. So I'm going to read it for you, and maybe we can take it apart a little bit, because I think it's one of the, I think it actually is a tonic for our time. That and it's funny. Before I really came to faith, I had read a little bit of Bible. I mean, just a tiny bit before I started going to church or that. I had a Bible that would occasionally get open for here and there. But but what, and even as I began my journey in faith and began to kind of encounter church and things like that, this Ecclesiastes was actually one of the first texts I fell in love with in the Bible, because there was this sense of that which resonated with me, and Solomon looking at the world. That Ecclesiastes is this ruminations of an old king thought to be Solomon, thought to be these ruminations of what it was to look at all of life and all of its comings and goings and doings and beings, and the weariness of and you get that sense from the text, but it's also this. What really matters? It's really this treatise on what really matters, and how are we to be in this world. And I think that our time of COVID, our time of our rhythms being disrupted, this whole thing it constantly is assaulting us with this sense of how are we to be in this world? How are we to be in this world in all of its difficulty and silliness and tragedy and pain? And I think this text from Ecclesiastes and this whole book is really just very rich. So good morning, Bonnie. Good morning, Irene. Priscilla, hello. Robin, so glad you're here too. So here are these texts from Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to quit from embracing, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And it goes on. What do people really get for all their hard work? I have seen the burden God has placed on us all. Yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. I think that the heart of this whole thing is, and it's this little foretaste. This is written hundreds, if not thousands of years, who knows when it was actually put together, but before it was actually penned, this notion of that God has planted eternity in the human heart. God has planted eternity in the human heart. And what I want to remind us today is what the whole point of this Jesus thing is, of what it really means. It means we live forever, friends. It means we are children of eternity. Eternity is implanted in us, in the human heart. And that's not only just this nice phrase for how we can kind of understand, because we can see beauty and we can appreciate beauty and we can touch and taste and know things of eternity, things that are transcendent of just their physical reality. That when we encounter beauty, we encounter something of the eternal, because it's not something that's just, why is one thing beautiful and another thing not beautiful? And we can say, oh, well, it's all in the eye of the beholder, but that's not really true. We know that. We know that there are things that are beautiful around the world for all peoples and all places. We know there's a golden mean. We know that all these things. And so it's not just this idea that we can appreciate eternity, which is often how it's understood. I think it's this idea, it's this foretaste of what Jesus tells us when he says, I am the resurrection and the life, and whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall they live. Friends, we're going to live forever. Stop freaking out. Stop being anxious. Stop letting go of all. Stop thinking that the time that you are in, The time, whether it is a time to tear or a time to mend, a time to keep or a time to throw away, a time to be quiet or a time to speak up. I think what's most disorienting about this time, just to stay with me on this, because I think this is critical. But I think what's most disorienting about this time is that we can't tell what time it is. We don't know what is it time to speak? Is it time to be quiet? Is it time to have our hearts break and grieve? Or is it time to embrace the joy of life? How are we to be in this time? That I think what's more disorienting is not that we don't know what to. It's not that we don't know how to be. It's that we don't know the time that we're in, and to be able to respond to that time. That you know that. I heard a monk or a friar say this the other day, which I thought was just brilliant. He says, "You know that we have to be contending with things that are diabolical, with things that are of the devil recently, only because we know that they are often without form, and that's kind of the great trickster is without form." And that because things where constantly the truths of our days are completely shifting. But to remember that the beauty of every season, that every season has within it its beauty, every season have within its activity, every season has it within it, whether it is a planting or a harvesting or a killing or a healing, whether it all of this, every season it means something, because eternity is planted in our hearts, because Christ Jesus calls to each one of us right here, right now, and it journeys with us and surrounds us and is not only in it with us, but is ahead of us, preparing a place and is healing the wounds of the past to bring us forward. That God is in and of and in all times. God is in all of the eternals. That's what makes it eternal. And that is in your heart. It's in your heart. It's in my heart. It's in your being. It may not be in your it may or may not in the course of our living find its way into our flesh and our bones and all that. But we are made of eternity. And it is in that all the seasons have beauty in them. So whatever's fallen apart these days, whatever's decelerating in your life, whatever's not working or not being together in this, remember that you are made, that what dwells in your heart, that what Christ came into this world has done and continues to do in bringing about the resurrection again and again and again and again, makes every time and every place an opportunity and a chance and an opening for the time that it is, whether it is a time for borning or it's a time for dying. Friends, I hope you'll just spend today maybe thinking a little bit about what time it is. You know, the great Seraphim Rose, the great Orthodox saint, says the great truth is that it's always later than we think it is. I take that. You know, the Orthodox are great at meditating on our mortality, but I think there's a beauty in that because it forces us, it invites us to look at the time that we are in, whether it is a time of tearing down or a time of building up. But none of those things mean anything without being the basis of our heart and eternity, of knowing that we, because of all that Jesus is and was and will be and continues to do for you and for me and for this planet and for our lives and for all that God brings into it, that the eternity that is placed within us overshadows all of that, is greater than any of the times in our being. And not only has them be times, but can sanctify them and make them holy. Friends, I hope in these days and in your days right now, you'll spend a little time thinking about what time it is that whether that time to plant or that time to sow, and find what your heart of eternity are called to do with it this day. All right, gang, that's what I have for you today. It is my hope that you are doing well, you are keeping cool, you are enjoying this time that we're in. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. Just by way of commercial, we are starting a four. Really going to be over 6 weeks, but it's a 4 weeks that we're meeting study on Bonhoeffer. It'll be over Zoom, and there'll be there's an ad on the Facebook page that has the Zoom link in it. It will be from 6 to 7 o'clock on Wednesday nights. So if you're interested, just click on the link, copy and paste the link, and that will get you to the Zoom room. It's going to be a pretty simple go around. I mean, it's summertime. We're not going to work too hard with this, but it's about there's about a series of 4 20-minute films, and we'll watch the 20-minute film by Eric Metaxas, who wrote an incredible biography of Bonhoeffer, and then we'll have a discussion on it, and it'll be about an hour. On his presentation of the book, and then we'll do that for 3 weeks, the Wednesday nights, and then we'll have a break. I'll be on vacation, but that's your invitation. That if you want to take up Metaxas's book and read it, you get our 2 weeks of reading week, and then our last session will actually be on the 2nd of September, where we'll have a chance to come together and wrap it up and discuss the last video and about Bonhoeffer's martyrdom, which I have no problem calling it that, because I think that's truly what he was in the faith. And if you don't know who he is, well, come find out. It'll be awesome. So 6 to 7 on Wednesdays. But either way, we will meet again tomorrow for 11:11. I am so grateful for every one of you that are here. Hey, Shelby, I just saw you sneak in. So glad you're here and with us. I hope you are healing and well, and things are good. We will talk. We will all talk soon. And friends, for everything there is a season, and for every time and activity under heaven, because inside of you are planted the eternity in the human heart, your heart. Have a great day. Peace and grace, friends.